This is your soda. You open your fridge and it's there, just sitting there, getting cold. When you're thirsty, you'll go to the fridge and guess who? Your soda. Sitting there getting cold, waiting for you to enjoy it. So you drink it. And that's what it's for. End of story, right? And your vehicle. This is your vehicle. Well, maybe it's not your vehicle. Maybe it's your organization's vehicle. But I'm sure that the one you drive looks something like this. You get in, turn the key, it starts, and you drive it. It's just kind of what you do. You don't really question it. It's what you do. It's how you get around. Simple enough. Or is it? Remember that soda when you were thirsty? What if I told you that there was a lot more that you could have done with that soda? For example, you could have removed the stain from your favorite shirt, or maybe marinated a piece of steak using your soda. You'd probably look at that soda a little different next time. And your vehicle. What if you knew that taking a few extra seconds each time you went to use that vehicle, that it could possibly reduce the risk of an accident or injury, maybe even someone's life? But you're probably like most people. You just don't think it'll ever happen to you. But taking a few extra seconds to look behind your vehicle before backing up could be the difference between you having an accident-free career or your company looking for a new driver. So in the remainder of the program, we're going to discuss a few of those things that can provide you with a renewed perspective and make you more conscientious regarding backing, parking, and intersections. The old adage that hindsight is 20/20 doesn't necessarily ring true when it comes to backing up your vehicle. In fact, your ability to see clearly when backing up is often about as clear as the sky in New England during a snow blizzard. To put it in perspective, there are over 3 million backing accidents each year, resulting in over $4 billion in repairs and over 1,000 lost lives. So as you can see, not only is backing up a potentially costly proposition if done carelessly, but it's also, as the more than 2,700 victims who are treated in an emergency room each year can attest, a dangerous one. It is highly recommended that backing up be limited to situations only when it is absolutely necessary. And there are a few situations where backing should be avoided with all effort. These situations include when you are in an area that contains a heavy amount of pedestrian traffic, like large parking lots, for example. When exiting an alley and you have to drive across a sidewalk that may have pedestrian traffic. And finally, when backing into heavy traffic. But no matter how much time, effort, and thought you put into your driving to avoid backing up, eventually you will encounter a situation that will require you to put the vehicle into reverse. It's just a fact of life. So, since backing is an unavoidable fact of life, let's discuss for a moment the keys to backing safely. First, let's tackle a common contributor to many backing accidents, the blind spot. The size of the blind spot will vary depending upon the type of vehicle you drive. The larger the vehicle, the larger the blind spot. However, by definition, all blind spots, no matter how big or small, are the areas behind your vehicle and to the side that cannot be seen clearly from the driver's seat, even when a driver makes good use of properly adjusted mirrors. Since backing up is so dangerous, we should take every precaution to make it as safe as possible. Remember, you should only back up if absolutely necessary. But if you must, there are some guidelines to follow. First, slow down. Always take your time when backing up to safely navigate your vehicle in reverse, especially when hauling a load or towing a trailer. Next, as you approach your stop and realize that you will need to back up when you're ready to leave, do it before the stop. In other words, the scenery is all very fresh in your mind as you approach your parking spot. Take notes and observe everything around you and put your vehicle in a position so that you can pull out of the spot after you stop. Do this no matter how quick the stop might be. This is especially true in residential areas, as children have a tendency to be sporadic in their behavior and can quickly get behind or even under a vehicle while playing. This can cause your environment to change very rapidly. Second, when you approach your vehicle to leave, perform a quick walk around. This is simply taking a quick lap around your vehicle to assure that there are not any people or objects around or under your vehicle that could potentially hamper backing up. It also confirms that the area which you are backing into is clear. Performing a walk around before backing is a must. It should be as routine as turning the key to start your vehicle. After you perform the walk around check, back up as soon as possible. And while it is important to back up with caution, it is also important to do so ASAP, so that the area that you evaluated behind and to the side of your vehicle has the least amount of time to change. In areas that have pedestrian traffic, it can be helpful to use your horn when backing. A few short honks on the horn will notify others that you are backing and create a safer environment for all involved. Remember, if you choose to use your horn, use it sparingly. As you begin to back up, do so slowly and with extreme care. If you are able to see through your back window, then it would be advisable to turn your head and look over your right shoulder through your rear window. This provides the greatest possible viewing in the direction of travel. In situations where the parking spot is tight, move with extra caution and check the mirrors often for danger. You should never put your head out the window to gain a better vantage point. This does not increase your visibility. In fact, it reduces visibility and creates more blind spots. If you ever feel that your vision is blocked, ask for help. It is always better to ask for help than to try and maneuver your way in or out of a sticky parking situation. When you ask for assistance, here are some tips to best utilize your guide. 1. Maintain eye contact with the person who is directing you. 2. Ask your guide to use both hand signals and voice commands. And 3. Make sure that the person is aware of the hazards you are trying to avoid. As we mentioned before, thoughtful planning is a big part of backing up successfully. A few extra moments can be great help in keeping you and others around your vehicle safe. All of us know how to park. Maybe some of us park more skillfully than others. And if you are an unskilled parker, you know who you are. But when it comes down to it, when we think about driving, parking often isn't at the top of the list of things that we consider. But you should. Why, some may ask? Because parking presents many dangerous situations that can easily be avoided with a little planning. So let's evaluate a few parking situations and cover some important things to consider. Upon your arrival in a parking lot, evaluate the spot where you plan to park your vehicle. Take notice of the surrounding area and maneuver into a position that can allow you to pull straight ahead when you're ready to leave. This will be the best way to avoid having to back up. The same thought applies at a work site where parking spaces may not be designated. Oftentimes, you may arrive and find lots of space and close-by parking. But while you're doing your thing, others arrive and decide to park right next to you. Soon your vehicle is boxed in. This then forces you to have to back up to get out. So, when possible, park where backing will be unnecessary when leaving. Ask yourself, am I going to be here long? Can others eventually box me in? Can I use available pull-through parking a short distance away? Now, for those in the room who are thinking to yourself, I'm not going to do that. That might require that I walk further. First, the exercise might actually do you some good. Second, by making small adjustments to everyday habits, you can potentially save yourself a lot of trouble and heartache. We all have a friend, family member, or co-worker who tried to take a shortcut at some time in their driving career and backed into a rock, pole, fire hydrant, or worse, another vehicle. So be smart. Stay away from situations that can become troublesome. Next, be sure to park legally. Now, that might seem obvious, but how many of us have parked in the red zone, left the vehicle running with the keys in the ignition because we thought we'd be back in just a few seconds? But mistakes are made and accidents occur all in the blink of an eye, and sometimes the unimaginable can quickly become the evening news. So when you've parked, turn the ignition off. Make sure the vehicle is in park or with a manual transmission in first gear. Set the parking brake, lock the doors, and take the keys with you. When you are parking a vehicle on the side of a roadway, be sure to have properly turned the wheels toward the curb. Proper curbing prevents the vehicle from rolling into traffic, which is what happens when a parked vehicle is struck by another vehicle and the force causes it to roll. There are also times when a manual transmission vehicle slips out of gear and the parking brake is not properly set. If parked on a hill, the law of gravity can cause the vehicle to begin rolling down that hill. There are a lot of rules concerning proper curbing. Basically, it is rather simple if you just think about it. The idea is to turn your wheels so that if the car should roll, it will roll in towards the side of the street, away from traffic. So think about it. When parking on a hill, which way will the car roll? Just turn the wheels so that if it does, it rolls away from traffic onto the side of the street. Now, the only trick to this is when you park on level ground. You still want to turn the wheel so that the car is pointing in towards the curb. The idea is that if the vehicle is struck from behind, it will push the car onto the side of the road and not into traffic. Did you know that the average speed of a vehicle passing through a controlled intersection is about 52 miles per hour? This is pretty scary when you consider that when two vehicles collide at 90-degree angles, it can be the most fatal type of collision and cause serious injury. As you approach an intersection, it is your job to be aware and prepared to avoid deadly types of collisions. You should be prepared to slow down if the light which you are approaching has been green for some time. When approaching an intersection and you think to yourself, "Wow, this is a long green light. It's too good to be true." It probably is, and you should take the appropriate measures to be prepared for a yellow light. There are three types of intersections. The first is a controlled intersection. It has traffic lights, yield signs, or stop signs to control traffic. The second is the uncontrollable intersection. It has no signs or traffic lights. You might find intersections like this in areas where there is not much traffic, but don't be fooled. These types of conditions can deceive you into being less careful when you actually need to be extra careful. The third are blind intersections. A blind intersection is one when you cannot see for 100 feet in either direction during the last 100 feet before crossing. It simply means your view is blocked, usually by trees, bushes, buildings, hills, or parked cars. It is obvious that you should slow down and proceed with caution through a blind intersection, but many people don't. And if you're wondering why, just ask the many people who didn't think they needed to and now can't drive. The speed limit for a blind intersection is 15 miles per hour, the same as when approaching a railroad crossing. When you approach any of these types of intersections, approach slowly and with caution. Edge forward slowly until you can see in both directions clearly. Then continue through the intersection with continued caution. Let's go back to the controlled intersections. Now, when at a controlled intersection with a green light, drive carefully through the intersection at a steady speed. If the light has been green for a while, be prepared to stop when it turns yellow. When you approach an intersection on a main road, and the road beyond the intersection is clogged with traffic, don't enter into the intersection. Try to keep it clear for emergency vehicles. Stop, just like you would for a red light. As you slow down and approach the congested intersection, glance in your rear-view mirror to check on the car following you. It is possible the driver is focused on the green light and not on your brake lights. Gently tap your brakes so that your tail lights will flash and get their attention. This will signal caution to the drivers behind you. At a controlled intersection, when you face a stop sign, you must come to a complete stop. If there is activity in the intersection, prepare to stop. Let the traffic and/or pedestrians already in the intersection pass through. You should wait until the intersection is clear again before proceeding. Understanding the rules surrounding yielding can help you avoid being in one of the many collisions that are a result of confusion at the intersection. For example, if two vehicles come to an uncontrolled intersection from different roads at the same time, the driver on the left must let the driver on the right go first. You must also yield the right of way when you and another vehicle to your right have pulled up to a stop sign at the same time. At a controlled intersection, with stop signs at all corners, you must yield the right of way to the first vehicle to come to a complete stop. When at any intersection where you are looking to turn left or right, you must yield the right of way to traffic and pedestrians. When turning left, you should wait for approaching traffic to pass or turn before proceeding. It is also important to understand that when you are entering a road from a private road or driveway, you must yield to vehicles already on the road and pedestrians that might be on the sidewalk. Keep in mind that pedestrians are considered traffic and that you must yield the right of way to them crossing at specially marked pedestrian crossings or crossovers. Remember that just because you signal, it does not give you the right of way. But it does communicate your driving intentions to other motorists and gives them valuable information to stay safe as well. You can also attempt to make eye contact with the other driver. Simple, non-verbal gestures can communicate intentions and remove any confusion for you as well as other drivers. Just remember, when it comes to driving, a great defense is not to trust anyone. How many people do you see that visibly aren't paying attention to their driving? Some others are off in a world of their own, thinking about everything except what they are doing and oblivious to everything that's going on around them. We all see people run red lights all the time. So remember that a red light isn't what stops a car. Only a conscientious driver pressing their foot on the brake pedal can do that. To the extent that you can, take responsibility for creating your own safety. Do the little things that can make a big difference. Be responsible. Each time you get behind the wheel, your life and the lives of others around you depend upon the safe and smart decisions you make. After all, you cannot control what the other guy does. But keep in mind that if you are paying attention, almost every collision can be prevented, even the ones where the other guy makes the mistake.